Or Democratic Senator Tim Kaine. His own concerns about the president's plan. I know you've been working hard to get this authorization submitted, and you want to see it pass, Senator, but you have a different concern than the Republicans do. In particular, you think there should be a geographic limitation on where this authorization can and cannot work?
Actually, Megan, I'm fine with no geographic limitation.
Oh, really? Okay.
But I do support a sunset, and I do support some definition and limitation of ground forces. But first, I'm so glad we're at this day. We're 6 months into a war where American lives have been lost. We've spent huge amounts of money, thousands of airstrikes, and we haven't had in Congress the debate and vote that the Constitution requires, which means that we haven't essentially done what our service members deserve, which is us saying that the mission is worth it.
She was saying, look, okay, don't get political with this, although there are objections on both sides of the aisle.
Right.
And then she was asked about this time limitation, this sunset provision, which you favor, saying that's, you know, you're sort of telling the enemy when we're going to be done. And you're saying in 3 years we're going to be done, so if you can just wait us out 3 years. And then Megan, she said this. Let me just tell you what she said, and then you respond.
I would hope that the period of time of this legislation will be much longer than it takes to deal with ISIL.
Do you think we'll be done with ISIL in 3 years?
Megan, sadly, I don't, but I do think a sunset's a good idea, and here's why. We've learned from 14 years of operating under the authorization that was passed right after the Afghanistan war. It's about 60 words, no geographic limitation, no time limitation. There are folks in the Pentagon who say under this definition the war will go on for another 25 or 30 years. That's not what Congress really intended when they voted, and I think the right thing to do is to be specific and clear, and then as you pointed out with Senator Johnson, if after 3 years we're not where we need to be, and we probably won't be, at least have the president come back to the American public and Congress and say, here's the status right now, here's what we need to do going forward.
The reason it's controversial, though, is because Congress has a fist fight over everything. The American people don't believe that the Congress can get anything done. So when it comes to national security, shouldn't we trust our president? That's what Nancy Pelosi is saying, trust the president. But does she only mean if that president is a Democrat?
Well, I don't know what she means, but I'll tell you, the framers had this right. War should be declared by Congress, and we should do it before we start, not try to put the horse in front of the cart 6 months later. But a large part of the reason that this wasn't done in this case is because the congressional leadership, both parties, both houses, said to the president, you do this, we don't want to put our hands on it before the midterm election. And that really sticks in my craw, because we shouldn't be asking service members to risk their lives unless members of Congress are willing to do the hard thing and have a debate and have a vote and say this is in the national interest.
Before I let you go, do you think this thing has the votes to pass?
I do. It's going to go through some amendments and revisions, but there is strong bipartisan support that we need to be engaged in military action against ISIL. You'll see it amended along the way, but I think it'll pass.
All right, Senator Tim Kaine, great to see you, sir. Thanks for being here.
Thanks, Megan. You bet.